in an era obsessed with brawl.
Stand on it.
You're not gonna feel no power.
So you want me to put it on you? I'll put it.
Something.
With noise and superstars. Every now and then, someone comes along who doesn't need any of it. No bright lights, no theatrics, no trash talk,
So the jab actually sets
just violence and victory.
Moses Itauma!
This is not a fairy tale. This is the making of a monster. This is the rise of Moses Itauma.
Electrifying speed.
50 seconds of round number 2.
Moses Itauma didn't grow up in comfort. He grew up in a home where toughness wasn't an option. It was the only way to survive.
Raised in England, of Nigerian descent, and I'm very proud of that. Obviously, when I go into the ring, people obviously know the power of the Nigerian descent. So I'm all for bringing Nigeria up. Obviously, there's a lot of Nigerian boxers.
Born into a large Slovak-Nigerian household, raised with discipline, surrounded by brothers who refused to let him fall behind. Moses was forged long before he ever threw a punch.
I've been boxing since I was 9 years old, so I've been boxing like 10 years. My brother used to wake me up 4 a.m. to go for running before school.
People talk about natural talent, but there is nothing natural about waking up at dawn to train. Nothing natural about skipping meals, skipping parties, skipping childhood, just to stay one step ahead of everyone else.
Woke up with the bird truck on my hand, chasing a dream only I understand. Every punch thrown, every mile that I ran, forging the future, sticking to the plan. They talking loud, but their words are just air. I'm in the ring with the blood and the prayer. Feel the fire burning in my veins, washing out the doubt, ignoring all the pain.
Before the world saw a prodigy, the family saw a boy who could not be broken. The heavyweight division isn't a friendly place. It's a land of giants. Men who hit like sledgehammers.
He knew exactly what he was going to do, Anthony Joshua there. He wasn't having a look.
On the ropes with his hands down. Two upright hands down, and then Derek Chisora unloading both. Lucas Brown will try and check one more, but he can't. Left hand lays him out. He's out. Okay.
Men who can end careers with a single mistake.
He just turned the lights out. He is making his professional boxing debut. Ladies and gentlemen,
18-year-old.
And yet, Moses walked into this world at 18 years old, with the composure of a veteran and the calm of a man who knew something others didn't. There was no warm welcome.
Look at this. Wait, hold up. Hold these some good replays. Go back. See how your eyes can fool you?
No easing in period. He was sparring champions, hurting grown men, dropping contenders in the gym.
After school, at the end of school, I'd literally get my stuff and I'll go spar Joe Joyce.
Moses Itauma,
Do you know who that motherfucker is?
The giant,
that 20-year-old heavyweight.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
Bro,
Yeah,
did you
he's a
see
young
what
cat.
he did to Dillian White?
Yes.
Why I think that is I've never seen anyone who was as big as this kid move as well as he does. For you to be that big, like 6'5", 250 pounds at only 20 years old.
Because every man who stood in front of him felt the same thing. He doesn't punch like a teenager. He hits like a fully grown monster.
He is making his professional boxing debut.
In January 2023, at just 18 years old, Moses Itauma stepped into the professional ranks. Across the ring stood Marcel Bode, a seasoned, durable heavyweight who had never been stopped.
Let's see how he reacts.
Itauma wasted no time. He stepped forward with purpose, slipped under a jab, and uncorked a perfectly timed left hand that folded Bode where he stood.
It didn't come.
Nothing came.
Our referee, Mark Bates, reaches the count of 10. Therefore, your winner by way of knockout and successful tonight in his professional boxing debut, Moses Itauma.
23 seconds. A debut knockout, clinical, ruthless, and emphatic. Next came Ramon Ibarra. He was a tough, durable, and experienced fighter.
8 weeks ago, Moses Itauma took 20.
Moses overwhelmed him with speed and accuracy, forcing the referee to save him after only 91 seconds. 2 fights, 2 stoppages, 0 damage taken. The kid wasn't just winning, he was dominating. Then came a real test. The iron-chinned Konstantin Dovbyshchenko, a man nearly nobody stops.
They want experience, they want Chico. Whether that's wise, I'm not sure.
For the first time, we saw Itauma go the rounds. 6 full rounds of total control. He boxed with patience, variety, and discipline.
Fast reactions there.
Jabs, pivots, perfectly timed body shots. He didn't chase the knockout, he chased improvement. And sometimes that's even more terrifying.
Undefeated Moses Itauma.
Mariusz Wach is not a prospect test. He is a career gatekeeper of giants. A man who has shared the ring with champions, punchers, technicians, and survived them all. He went the distance with Vladimir Klitschko. He stood tall against Alexander Povetkin. He absorbed punishment from Gerald Miller, Dillian White, and Huey Fury. Never once looked like a man willing to fold. A man literally built to expose young heavyweights.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for 10 rounds, and it will be for the WBO.
Opening bell sounded. Age and youth did not meet in the middle. It was skill overwhelming experience. Itauma didn't rush. He didn't chase the knockout. Behind a stiff southpaw jab, he controlled every angle, every exchange, every step.
On the ropes here.
Wach tried to push forward, but each time he entered, he was met with crisp counters and sharp combinations that snapped his head back. And slowly, the unbreakable giant began to give ground. Moses Itauma wasn't just outboxing Mariusz Wach. He was breaking him. Mariusz Wach, the man who had stood with champions, could not stand with Moses Itauma.
He wanted out of right there at that point, I think, because he knew that there were the future of the heavyweight division and the man they're calling the most exciting man in British boxing at the moment.
Absolutely. I mean, I just made a statement about Dennis McCann previous.
Heavyweight champion, Moses Itauma!
That night, Itauma didn't just add another name to his resume. He conquered a measuring stick of the division.
Dempsey, the Tower McKean, and Moses...
The canvas.
Dempsey McKean wasn't a prospect. He was a legitimate world-level contender. A 6'6" southpaw who had spent years climbing the heavyweight ladder.
Oh, that was a big...
Before stepping in with Moses Itauma, McKean had only one defeat on his record, and it came against Filip Hrgović, one of the most avoided and dangerous heavyweights in the world. That loss didn't break him. It seasoned him. It made him smarter, tougher, and more determined.
What do you say, Moses, to Dempsey saying you haven't fought anyone of note?
Whatever he says, it's not going to get under my skin.
Really, like he's got some power. You can see that he's got some speed as well, and that equals power. And but you can also look at the competition as well. Obviously, it gets a lot easier to knock out.
I've never been hit with a 10-ounce glove. You might be the first person to do it.
Yeah.
You can run away with that.
And for a teenager like Moses Itauma, this was supposed to be too soon. Too big, too experienced, too dangerous.
Somebody getting knocked down, you go to the furthest neutral corner until you get further instruction. Touch gloves.
Itauma treated McKean like just another step on the path. Mike Balogun was no warm-up fight. A former NFL linebacker turned undefeated knockout artist. Explosive, experienced, and built like a tank. He'd knocked out nearly everyone he'd faced.
As far as fighting Moses getting shown love, he's supposed to. You know what I mean? He's supposed to be the next man up, but every next man up run into roadblocks, mountains, speed bumps, whatever you want to call it. I'm no pushover, never been one throughout my whole athletic career. I've always been the one who steps up to big challenges and come out on top, and I don't see this as being anything different.
He'd been in with real heavyweights, and he wasn't coming to be a stepping stone.
Listen, everyone expects me to knock him out. I probably will, but it's the fact that if I don't knock him out, there's obviously, you know, like a bit of question mark.
Do you believe you stop him on Saturday night?
Very possible. If he comes out fast, then he gonna run into something. That's what happens. Any fighter that starts fast with me, I can start fast too. And I got just as much power as any other heavyweight in the division. So.
Respect you both, you're obeying instructions at all times. When I tell you to break the ball, break clean. Defend yourselves at all times, and the best luck to you both. Touch gloves.
Professor Frank George and Francis Warren want Itauma to show.
Itauma's jab was the difference. Snapping, sharp, relentless. Every time Balogun tried to close distance, Moses met him with perfect timing. Itauma established control early with superior hand speed and footwork. He landed a sharp left hook that sent Balogun to the canvas for the first knockdown. Balogun beat the count and survived the round, but the damage was evident. The American managed and made it through to the second round. The end came swiftly. Just seconds into the round, Itauma landed a right hook for the second knockdown. Though Balogun bravely rose again, Itauma capitalized with a final thudding counter right that left Balogun sprawled on the canvas, prompting the referee to immediately wave off the fight at 46 seconds into the round.
In the second round, Moses Itauma lights up Glasgow. He did it in Saudi Arabia, and a few months on, it's
Moses Itauma!
Few teenagers can hurt professional heavyweights. Fewer can drop them. Almost none can break them down with this kind of maturity. They say every rising star eventually hits the point where hype meets reality. And for Moses Itauma, that moment came when Dillian, the body snatcher White, entered the conversation.
It could. I think it might be too soon for Moses. I think Moses is on a great run. I think Dillian, if he had more momentum, it would be. I could probably stamp my authority on the decision a bit more. But still, Dillian's pressing. He's working hard, and if Dillian's up for it, that experience, is going to play a pivotal role in that fight.
I think it's perfect matchmaking for both guys, really. What do you think?
I think it's good night, Mr. White.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think that the matchmaking's great for him?
Not for Dillian, I don't know. I think it's great for Moses because ultimately he gets a decent name like Dillian White on his resume, which isn't the Dillian White that was fighting 2 or 3 years ago. If he blasts him out, which I think he will, then Moses, the mythology around Moses...
For years, White has been one of the heavyweight division's gatekeepers, a man who fought Joshua,
That's that counter left hook we were talking about.
Joseph Parker, Alexander Povetkin, Tyson Fury, Robert Helenius, and Derek Chisora twice.
Shot to end it. Absolutely.
A man who earned every inch of his reputation in blood and bruises. Dillian White was a veteran who had seen the darkness of the heavyweight division and survived it.
Step in the square, feel the air getting heavy. Lights flash bright, hope your guard is steady. Brixton blood, warrior's heart in the chest. Came to put these other heavyweights to the test. Left hook landed, make the whole canvas shake. Every single shot is another soul I take.
Dillian White is British champion.
Body snatcher! Yeah! That's the name they scream. Breaking down the strongest, crushing every dream. Body snatcher!
He is one of the most battle-tested heavyweights of his era. A successful kickboxer. A well-experienced boxer with deadly left hook that could turn the lights out with a single strike. Dillian White entered the fight as the far more experienced man. A former WBC interim champion with victories over world-class opponents. But despite his resume, Moses Itauma was widely seen as the favorite.
In a fight, Moses, I think, levels above Dillian now. I do. Again, I am very much of what have you done for me lately. And I think we saw how good Moses looked against Mike Balogun, how good he looked against Dempsey McKean, and how bad Dillian looked against Christian Hamer and Ebenezer Tete.
White's last performance against Ebenezer Tete had raised concerns. He looked far from his prime, and many questioned whether he still had the sharpness and durability that once defined him.
Well, he's thrown absolutely.
Meanwhile, Itauma was rising fast, unbeaten, explosive, and carrying all the momentum.
We buy into the boxing paradigms of what everyone else is saying. So, because everyone else is saying something, then it must be true. Right? But then that's not true because boxing is littered with upsets. Littered with them. So if that's the case, then yeah, I know when everyone on hype thing and right. And I really do think that Moses Itauma is fantastic. I do. But I'm not holding back to think, oh, I really think that Dillian White could pull off an upset. And because of that, that's what my prediction, that Dillian White is going to cause an upset. You're not going to say, what are you talking about? I've said it. I believe that Dillian White could cause an upset, especially if he punches with Moses Itauma, right?
He's a real fighting man, and he's a man of experience. But it's a difficult task against Moses Itauma.
Well, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I've never seen Moses fight, so I really don't know what he's ready for. He's got to bring it all. I mean, you know, I says, Dill, listen, let's just be realistic here. What could this kid do that you haven't already seen? But can that kid ask the same question?
The problem is White at this point now, and I like him. But at this point, because he's fought everybody, I give him credit. I like him. He's been, you know, he's been in there with everyone.
So when talks began about a matchup with Moses Itauma, the teenage prodigy, the future monster, the boxing world didn't react with excitement first. They reacted with shock.
His legs are looking a little old. I see a little of that aging in his legs when he steps out.
I am a massive fan of Itauma. He's exceptional.
Do you expect him to beat Dillian White, or how do you see that's going?
I think it's over inside 4 rounds.
I think this is a tough match for him. I think it's a very tough match for him and Dillian White. He's tough as all boots, Dillian. And if he can beat Dillian White, then he's certainly, you know, I'll take my hat off to him. He's certainly the real deal.
How good do you think he is, Dillian?
He's a good
Aside
fighter,
from
bro.
the jokes of the Mike Tyson, he's really.
No, I'm just saying, it's not a joke, bro. He's a good fighter, bro. He's doing his thing. He's not everyone being put in front of him. He's doing his thing. He's up and coming. He's got the bliss of ignorance. Obviously, he's young. He's got experience. He's fighting guys, inspiring guys, and doing his thing, bro. You know, and obviously his mindset is quite straightforward. He's got his vision. He's doing his thing. So, you know.
I'm starting to believe what he's saying. He's been written off. He is being written off. And like, obviously, I am a fighter at heart as well. So like, I know that when I ain't in healthy competition, I ain't when in the gym, then I kind of lose it with life.
The stage was set. The seasoned veteran versus the young phenom, but the odds were firmly leaning toward Itauma.
Here we go. This is what we've been waiting for, a stern face-off between the two. Dillian White's weight, the topic of a lot of conversation this week. 261 pounds.
He's already reacting too late. Itauma's speed and timing are obvious. A stiff jab, then a clean right hook cracks White's guard. White staggers back. Shot. One punch, one blitz. Game over. Clock. Fight over.
Very first round is Moses Itauma.
Hey, this is a young kid, 20 years old, with devastating knockout power, bro. This have Mike Tyson type of energy all over it.
I'm actually disappointed. 59 seconds on the first round.
The ability and speed and sharpness of Moses was always going to be a disaster unless Dillian got in the fight. But Moses still didn't let him get into the fight, so you've got to give him the credit.
Yeah, he looked good tonight, very explosive and put on a great display, trained hard for it, and he deserves everything he gets, you know, hard work pays off.
When the dust settled, the boxing world was left staring at a truth many weren't ready for. Dillian White, the seasoned veteran, the former title challenger, stopped in the very first round by a 20-year-old prodigy. It wasn't just a win. It felt like a changing of the guard.
I mean, listen, there's another saying in boxing, is you know, you don't put an old guy in with a young guy. You don't put a 37-year-old guy in with a 21-year-old hungry lion like an Itauma. So there's all different ways you can look at it, but the bottom line is it was an emphatic performance.
Clips of the knockout spread like wildfire. The knockout hadn't even finished echoing before Twitter exploded. After a commanding win over Dillian White, fans are dreaming big, calling for Itauma to step into the ring with one man, no other than the undisputed heavyweight king, Alexander Usyk.
And come on, Moses, give us a name. I know you said the crowd should give us a name, and there's many a contender ringside as well. Who do you want to see opposite you?
Usyk. These lot are saying Usyk. What's the crowd saying? What's the crowd saying? Everyone's just shouting out Usyk.
But is it really the right time? Boxing experts weigh in.
He's not ready, don't get me wrong, he's not ready for Alexander Usyk in any way, shape or form. A man who hasn't been past 6 or 7 rounds cannot be ready for Alexander Usyk.
Final one, Alexander Usyk. Will there be conversations about Itauma Usyk? Now we've seen that.
Maybe, but look, Usyk's a different animal. You know, you're talking about,
the best of our generation alongside Tyson.
You can mention him in that, but is that too quick? Oh yes.
Some argue Itauma's experience and power make him a thrilling contender for Usyk. But others caution, a fight like this might be too soon. Usyk's technical mastery, speed, and ring IQ could expose even the strongest punches. Think of it like a chessboard. Itauma has the pieces, but Usyk knows all the moves. In the end, the question remains, is it the perfect storm for a fight with Usyk, or a risk that Itauma might be rushing too soon? Fans will keep calling, analysts will keep debating, and the boxing world will be watching, waiting for the answer.
Moses Itauma will wreck all them old men out of the division. Usyk, AJ, Miller, whoever there is who's old, Zhang, all these big names of the past are all a spent force. And even the world champion now, if they took my belts and give them to Usyk, Moses will wreck him.
Moses Itauma isn't just knocking people out, he's dragging the heavyweight division back into the danger zone. People compare him to Mike Tyson, and it's not hard to see why. The explosive bursts, the bad intentions behind every punch. It's the closest thing we've seen to that old school walk you down violence. But here's the twist. Itauma can never break Tyson's record as the youngest heavyweight champion. That window is gone. Tyson did it at 20 years, 4 months, a mark that may never be touched again. So now, Moses isn't chasing Tyson's record. He's chasing Tyson's aura, the fear, the dominance, the era-defining power. And the next step in that journey is Jermaine Franklin. This is the fight that tells us what Moses really is. A rising star, or the next monster of the heavyweight division. After the explosive finish against Dillian White, the heavyweight world is watching Moses Itauma. And on January 24th, we get the next big chapter. Live from Co-op, live in Manchester, Itauma faces American contender Jermaine Franklin, a man known for pushing every opponent to the edge. Part of the Magnificent Seven card, this is more than a fight. It's a statement. The power, the speed, the future of the heavyweight division. All in one arena, one night.